So, have you ever gotten hives that just pop up out of nowhere? No new food, no new soap, just bam, hives. Well, today we're going to tackle a condition that drives millions of people crazy: chronic spontaneous urticaria, or CSU for short. We're going to break down what it is, what's really going on inside your body, and most importantly, how you can get a handle on it. This quote from a patient, Jessica, just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up that frustrating, confusing feeling of your own body going rogue. And that feeling is exactly what we're here to unpack today. Yeah, for anyone who's lived through it, CSU can feel like a total nightmare. It kicks off without any warning, and suddenly your own skin becomes this unpredictable source of pain, itching, and a whole lot of stress. All right, so let's get down to brass tacks. To really get what CSU is, we first have to be super clear about what it isn't, because it's probably not the kind of hives you're thinking of. Okay, so here's the official medical definition. And honestly, the name tells you pretty much the whole story. Chronic means it hangs around for 6 weeks or more. But spontaneous? That's the key. It means there's absolutely no external trigger. It's not your new laundry detergent. It's not something you ate. The cause is coming from inside your body. And this really lays it all out. You know, the kind of hives you get from a bee sting or a weird reaction to peanuts, that's acute. It shows up, you usually know why, and then it goes away. CU, well, it's a whole different beast. It's long-term, and your body is basically just deciding to create hives all on its own. Now, if this is sounding eerily familiar to you, I want you to know you are so not alone. As many as 1% of people on the entire planet deal with CSU. We're talking tens of millions of people. It's way more common than you'd think. So, if it's not an allergic reaction, what in the world is actually going on? Let's dive a little deeper, right under the skin, to find the real culprit. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What is my body doing? Well, the answer comes down to a specific type of cell that's supposed to be protecting you, but, well, it started to seriously misfire. Think of it like this. Your skin has these little security guards called mast cells. They're on patrol, looking for trouble. In CSU, your own immune system sends out a false alarm, a faulty internal signal. The mast cell security guard freaks out, bursts open, and dumps a massive flood of a chemical called histamine into your skin. And that histamine flood, that's what gives you the redness, the swelling, and that absolutely maddening itch. And if we zoom in even closer, scientists have figured out there are two main ways this false alarm gets triggered. In one type, your body basically becomes allergic to itself. It creates allergy antibodies against your own proteins. Crazy, right? In the other type, it's even more direct. Your immune system creates antibodies that just straight up attack those mast cell security guards. Either way, the main takeaway is the same. Your own immune system is causing the problem. Right, so we've got the science down. But living with this condition, man, it goes so much deeper than just an itch. It can truly affect every single part of your life. And one of the first things researchers noticed is that CSU doesn't play fair. For reasons we're still trying to fully understand, women are actually twice as likely as men to develop it. So what does it actually look and feel like? Well, first you have the hives themselves, what doctors call wheals. They're itchy, they're raised, and they're famous for moving around. They'll vanish from your arm only to pop up on your back. Then, for about 40% of people, there's also something called angioedema. This is a deep, painful swelling, usually on the lips, eyelids, or even hands and feet. But honestly, what you can't see is often the worst part. Just imagine not knowing if you're going to wake up with a swollen face or covered in painful welts. That constant what-if game takes a huge toll. We're talking up to 70% of patients reporting significant anxiety and depression. The mental burden is just enormous. So if there's no external trigger to test for, how on earth do doctors figure out if you have this? It sounds impossible, but there's a clear process for cracking the case. And this is so important to understand. Diagnosing CSU isn't about finding what you're allergic to, it's about ruling everything else out. This is why going for tons of allergy tests is usually a dead end. Doctors have to make sure there isn't another underlying reason for your hives before they can confidently say it's CSU. So once you're diagnosed, how do you track it? There's this really clever tool called the UAS7. For 7 days, you give a daily score to your itchiness and how many hives you have. You add it all up, and you get a number. It's a super simple but really powerful way to objectively track how you're doing and see if your treatments are actually working. Okay, now for the part you've probably been waiting for, the action plan. How do you fight back and get control of your life again? While there isn't a cure yet, the great news is there's a very clear, internationally recognized game plan. Modern treatment works like a ladder. You start on the first rung, which is modern, non-drowsy antihistamines. If that's not enough to control it, you climb to the next rung, increasing that same antihistamine dose, sometimes up to 4 times the normal amount. Still no relief? Step 3 is a biologic drug. And for the toughest cases, the top rung is advanced immunosuppressants. There's a clear path. Now, we absolutely have to talk about oral steroids like prednisone. You might get them for a really bad flare, and they work like magic, fast. But, and this is a huge but, they are not a long-term fix. The side effects can be really serious. Think of them as a fire extinguisher for an emergency, not your everyday management plan. And finally, beyond the prescriptions, there are some simple, everyday things that can make a big difference. Stuff like avoiding things that can make hives worse, like ibuprofen, extreme heat, or really tight clothes. And on the flip side, doing things to soothe your skin, like using gentle detergents and taking cool showers, can really help keep things calm. So what's the big takeaway here? For decades, this condition was just a bizarre mystery. But now we know what it is. We know it's an inside job. It's your immune system. We have a clear ladder of treatments that help most people get their lives back. And as science gets better and better at targeting those internal triggers, you have to wonder, are we getting closer to a day when spontaneous isn't part of the name anymore? A future where this condition becomes predictable and maybe, just maybe, preventable.